You listen to me. You listen to me.
Listen to me.
You listen to me closer than you've ever listened.
What's up, everybody? This is Friday Night Lights Rewind. I'm Brandon Collins.
And I'm Chris Allen.
And we are talking about season 1, episode 12, what to do while you're waiting.
Yes. What?
I mean, this was an okay episode. This is weird. This is weird because it's like, it's a bye week, so there's no real, it's just a lot of tension of the team just waiting around to see how the playoff, the game between Buckley and Meade pans out, because I think if Buckley wins, right, they get to go to the playoffs.
Right. Which is funny because when you really listen to it, they need an upset because Buckley isn't very great. They're dependent heavily on Denny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, who blows out his knee before the game or some shit, which is wild for a teenager to ruin their knee before they even get to full adulthood. That's such a wild thing.
Yeah, but this is Texas football. These kids are ready to risk it all at a young age. You know what I'm saying? And it just shows you maybe the coaches don't care. They're like, yo, you got to get out there. You got to get out there. But
that's interesting, actually. Yeah.
But I say that to say, like, they're obviously not having a great season. If you need an upset to make it to the playoffs, and then they still have to really win a game before they even officially make it. So even for them to have a shot, they need this upset win.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, but Coach Taylor, he finds a way. That's the thing. I was like, I was watching these episodes with my wife for our recording today, and I was just like, yeah, man, Coach Taylor, it's revealed that he's that dude. Like, it's not just the players, not one key player. It's like he has the ability to turn teams around and get them through crazy high pressure situations. But we don't really see him navigating that this episode. This episode is interesting because it's a lot about the sacrifices parents are willing to make.
Right.
For their families, right? That's like the theme of this episode, because we have Street's family. Coach Taylor is finally served with papers for a lawsuit against Street's family against him, because they basically say that Street wasn't trained well enough to block against tackles, which is, you would have to really like dig deep to like find negligence in that, right? You would have to look at tapes. You would have to like probably depose all the coaches. You know what I mean? There's so many people you would have to interview to like show any kind of negligence in that regard.
Yeah. It's ugly, man. And like you see it right off the bat when Jason goes to this gas station. I think the guy's name was Sid. And the guy wouldn't even talk to him.
Yeah, which is so wild because this kid ain't doing it. It's his parents. But Street's like, everyone's looking at us weird, like this is gonna be bad. I did write down, it's unfortunate that Street just goes so hard with the wheelchair, because he just goes around Dillon, Texas now just sweating his ass off. He's just this sweaty dude in the wheelchair now. It's so wild.
Yeah. And it's only been 2 months. And like, I was thinking about that when he went to the store, because his mom was like, it's 4 miles away. There's no way that kid went 8 miles just using his arms in the Texas sun.
That is a good point. And in reality, the actor who plays Street should be jacked at this point. His arm should be jacked.
Huge.
Ooh, that is one. I mean, to be fair, like this actor's already doing a lot of physical work, right? So
he is.
But like, so to have to like grow your arms like that would be kind of insane.
But yeah, he's it's all, man. They all have so much going on, man. They all have so much going on.
Yeah, like, I mean, Smash is completely insane. He's trying to like court that girl who's, popped up randomly back in his life and shit. And then she's like a musician, so she plays the trumpet, and she's like, he keeps talking about himself in the third person. She's just like, I'm gonna leave because I've got a trumpet that needs polishing. And I was like, you boring somebody when they rather polish an instrument than talk to you or be around you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I took this note and I wasn't gonna say anything because I try to watch each episode twice just to get just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And I'll start off and say Smash is self-centered.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's very much self-centered.
He is
insane. He refers to himself in the third person.
He's fucking nuts.
He's crazy.
He literally
He's
tells her at
crazy.
the end, he's like, I can't be nobody but the smash. That is so crazy and also gross. Like this kid is out of pocket.
Yeah, if he just said, I just need to be myself. That's all,
Did you ever watch that show Industry?
I watched I need to get back into it because I
Okay.
really liked it. I really liked
It's
it.
great. It's great. The
Yeah.
last season, though, there's a character that's so fucking egregious, and he's such an asshole that at one point, one of the women is like, I feel like I know you're going through a lot, but you make it really hard to give a fuck. And that's how I
Damn.
feel about Smash. Like he is so unlikable at times that you really don't give a fuck
Yeah.
about some of the things he goes through because you're like, kind of deserve this. You're an
Yeah.
asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true.
And he,
That's
you know
very
what it
true.
is? And I don't
Uh,
mean this as any disrespect for the actor, Gaius Charles. I'm sorry if I butcher your first name.
oh boy. Here we go.
There,
Here we go.
dude. There,
Just say it.
come
Just
on.
say it.
There's way more attractive brothers out here that deserve having an ego like this. You know what I mean? Like, Smash isn't even a Dylan six. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Nigga is
come on.
ugly.
Like when I think about the original movie, like the movie that takes place in the 80s, the
Yeah.
dude who played Jet Jackson, way more attractive than this guy.
You rather bang that guy, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, Derek Luke. Yeah,
I met that guy. I met Derek Luke.
yeah, Derek Luke. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
come on. I know, and like I said, it's no disrespect to the actor. It's just like, hey, man, you can't be this insane and thinking you the bee's knees and you a Dylan six.
That's so funny. Yeah, he's not the most handsome guy.
No, he's not. He's not. But so
Uh
I love that Tammy was
oh,
telling Coach Taylor, she was like, when he gets served the papers, because rightfully so, Taylor's like taking it very, very personally. He's like, what the
right.
fuck did I do to deserve this? She's just like, don't take it personally. The family, they need someone to blame,
Hmm.
right? They need someone to blame. And even Street's parents, like, his mom admits to Jason, she's like, we don't want to have to do this, but we have no money.
Yeah. And he told that to Coach Taylor. He's like, dude,
The
I'm
dad,
I'm
yeah.
I'm dead already, man.
He's like, what else will I have to lose? I'm like, God damn.
Yeah,
He's like,
man.
we wiped out our savings. We cannot afford, we can barely afford the therapy he needs. We can barely afford to make our home, accessible to our own son and shit.
So what does his dad work at a flower shop?
Yeah, it looked like some kind of shop or
God
something like that.
damn.
Which, I think that's what's so especially in this current like political climate and world that we're living in, stuff like that.
Mhm.
These kind of towns probably don't have as many resources they need to make things accessible for someone like Jason Street.
Mhm. Oh, that's
That's
very
you
true.
know what I mean? That's probably why like the parents themselves are like, what the fuck? Because they probably even have the school system probably doesn't even have things in place to
Mm.
accommodate this kid. Because depending on funding, they have to allocate certain things
They're like,
and if they have like, let's say they have like one physically handicapped kid, they're probably doing everything they can to like put them in another district or something like that. So Street coming along, they're probably like, we'll do our
that's
best.
that's
You know?
very true because he even refers to himself as the town cripple. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yep.
don't know if that's hyperbolic, but he literally could be the only kid in a wheelchair in that town because it's so small.
Yeah. And the cost,
You
just
know?
like transportation, everything. I mean, I remember I was part of a student organization group. It's like a national organization. And the person that succeeded me in my role, like to represent like the Northeast or something like that,
Mhm.
he was physically handicapped. So he was in a wheelchair. He also had some mental disabilities, but an incredibly nice person, right? And rightfully won that position, right? But I remember the director of the org being like, fuck,
Mhm.
like off the record, he was like, fuck, because we had to travel around the country for various like events and conferences and stuff like that. And so I think
Yeah,
he was just thinking expenses wise, this is going to be insane.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I mean, think about like the Texas governor,
Yep.
Greg Abbott. He has to be the first governor in a wheelchair. I'm pretty sure the governor's office was never on the first floor. You know what
Oh,
I'm
for
saying?
sure.
Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had to make a lot of accommodations. That's just crazy when people like that has the views that he has. It's like, bro, they literally have to make sure there's a ramp so you can get in the building,
Mm,
and you don't want to accommodate other people. It's like
yeah.
that's weird. But anyway, I have one more point about Smash to kind of to go back to high school thing, like, and he's self-centered. He definitely needs to learn to talk about other things. But I used to hate when you would see your friend get a girlfriend, and then all of a sudden, like, she just had this weird view of what a boyfriend should be, and now like he can't even like, and he has to like move on and have a new life, and he can't make.
Oh yeah, like he changes, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
has to change. Yeah. Because at first I was like, man, why? Because she was upset about him being around the team and talking football. And it's just like, well, he's with the team right now. And it's a big thing that's going on. But later on, when he was like, I want her to pay attention to me. And I was like, you know what? That really wasn't about the football and shit like that. He wanted her to see him holding court, talking, So
Interesting. 'Cause I mean, I see that angle. I interpret it as he wants her to reaffirm how great he feels, how great everyone says he is. And that's one
right,
of the things,
right.
when my wife first met my family, my mom's side of family, my mom and my grandmother were like, "Oh, Brandon's doing this, and he's great at this." And my wife was just kind of like, she's my girlfriend at the time. Like we've been together, I think, like a year at this point, and she was just kind of like, "This is a lot." And then my grandfather was like, "He ain't that great." And then that's when my wife was like, "I like grandpa."
He
Like
ain't
she's
that
like,
great.
because I think you need someone like, and that's what like this love interest kind of does for Smash. She's kind of like checking him, like, you're not
Mhm.
the greatest thing on this earth. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like, and I think
right.
you need a partner like that, especially when you're in an industry that requires you to have some type of ego because you need to fight for
Hmm.
your place in certain rooms and stuff like that, but enough to
Right.
check you where you don't get out of control to the point where you're unlikable, potentially you get a bad reputation, all these things that could torpedo that career. It's a very fine dance, especially as a black man in any
Yeah.
type of like entertainment or high profile industry. You need to always be mindful of that because
That's
there's a
mhm.
point where Smash will piss off the wrong rich white guy with
Yeah.
that attitude, and he'll be like, "Okay, motherfucker, let's see if your checks get written, signed."
That's true. And that's why I was like, man, I kind of saw her being a tad selfish, but then later when he said that line, I was like, this is really all about him. She's right. And you're 100% right on that shit. And I think it's great if you find somebody like that early on. You know what I mean?
Mm,
This could be nothing but good for him to be 16 years old and you've already found that woman that's like, yo, you need to check your fucking ego. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
that's
Could
right.
you
Because
imagine? Could you
sorry.
imagine if Savannah? It would be interesting to see how Savannah James talks to LeBron when he having them nights because they've known each other since they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because if anybody's gonna say some wild shit, it's gonna be like, "Yo, close that door, nigga. I don't give a fuck how much money you have."
Yep.
I remember when blah blah. You know what I mean? Because
Mm,
that's one person, what one of the two people he can never talk sideways to, his mom and her.
yeah,
And
that's fair.
Smash, yeah, Smash need that shit, man. He does.
And we
Yeah,
do kind of affirm their ages because we learned that Matt Searson is officially 16 years old. And I wrote
yeah,
down, what the fuck? I was like, that's so much shit to like.
yeah.
This kid is so adult. It's so mature. He basically has to tell his dad he's off the hook for staying home and taking care of his family. Like he sees how miserable his dad is trying to be a car salesman at Buddy Garrity's dealership, where he's like, you could go back to Iraq. You're a good soldier. Like that's so insane.
Yeah, yeah, that's like your dad. It is, it is, man. I feel like there are people. You ever grew up with people where like they're kind of their parents' parent,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
and
mean,
that's
I live
it's
that life all the time. My
yeah,
wife and I all the time.
really
What were your parenting your parents? Yeah,
yeah, and it's a lot of that going on. Because you're right. Because Matt had to be like, "Yo, man, you tried it, buddy. Go ahead and get up out of here, man. You're not really helping me out." And then like the whole thing with Tyra and her mom, you really see like their dynamic and shit like that. Like Tyra's really the adult there.
yeah. I mean, Tyra, that whole family dynamic is out of pocket. I mean, that kind of comes into we get more context about why we're seeing these scenes in the next season with the whole Tyra storyline and shit like
Yeah,
that. But yeah, I mean, when she was chasing her mom's boyfriend with the fire poker, I
yeah.
was like, oh, there's some deeper simmering anger. I mean, we kind of see the way he's creepily looking at her ass and stuff like that. And just like, yeah, y'all have a genetically superior ass. And I'm like, first of all, this actress doesn't even have an ass. So I don't know what you're
Thank you.
looking at. But I was just like, that's just creepy. That's so inappropriate. She's 16
It's
years old, bro.
I know, I
Which means that
know.
he either always does that or he also tried to do something else too. Because the look that Tyra shoots him is like, not today. You know what I mean? Like she's used to this shit. And so for the mom to be weak and kind of like, be like, I can't be alone. I'm not used to being alone. It's like, what is
Yeah.
going on? Like, what do you think you're doing to your kids in this moment? But they're not thinking about that. They're just thinking about themselves and their feelings.
Yeah, man. That whole Tyra situation is crazy, man. With the mom, that is. But there's so many people who live like that. I've heard women tell those stories about how their mom will keep a guy around
Mm.
and like it's, you just see what you see it throughout your life, man. You just see wild situations. Like when I lived in Vegas, another comic friend of mine, his girlfriend used to hang out with this chick in their apartment complex. And she was a white chick, and she had some biracial kids,
Okay.
and the daughter was gonna be really pretty. I mean, probably 7 or 8 years old. She had like green eyes and all that kind of stuff. And the mom was just like, I don't know about this lady, man. And sure enough, like that little girl would tell her, she would tell my boy's girlfriend how like guys would come sneaking in her room and shit at night. Like already, this woman is like using her daughter as a, you know what I'm saying, almost as like
Yeah.
bait to get dudes to. It's crazy, man. And like I basically see Tyra's life kind of the same way. She's got this attractive daughter, and she knows that it's gonna bring a certain type of guy, but she's willing to put her daughter in that type of danger for companionship, and how she was saying he was paying the bills.
Yeah. It's so,
It's crazy, man. It's
so,
crazy.
yeah, diabolical. Like, it's one thing to excuse things by being like, hurt people and like, or some people just don't know better. But it's like, no, but you should have instincts about protecting your kid and not like, exploiting them. You know what I mean? But some people aren't wired that way. The older I get, the more I realize that there's some people that are just fucked up. And it
Yeah.
may not be of their own volition. There might just be some wires that were, crossed when they were born or something like that, or like as they grew up. But you realize, oh, there's some really fucking dark shit inside people sometimes.
Yeah, man, that generational shit too, and I think Tyra's starting to see it.
Oh yeah, yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah, I
She,
mean, we the whole first season like has been shown like nothing but like Tyra being exploited or sexually you know uh pined after and stuff like that and by older men. I mean, Jennifer Love Hewitt, she just came out recently doing a bunch of interviews about how uncomfortable and fucked up her like career was in the 90s when she was like up and coming and stuff like that, how creepy men were. And I'm like, I get that because I was a young prepubescent boy that was pining and lusting after you. So I can only imagine dudes in the
oh
industry
yeah,
that had
right,
the power to make
yeah,
moves for her. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure there was some really fucked up shit that happened.
yeah. They had access to her.
So
Yeah,
I will say this is the first episode though where the actress that plays Tyra, and again, folks, like obviously these folks are all older than the
I think
characters
you're
that
gonna say
played.
it. Say it.
Adrian Palicki,
Mm-hmm.
she made a smile where it was like a really interesting smile. It's like kind of a small smirk, but it showed a little bit of teeth and stuff like that. Where she made a smile where I was like, I get it, I get it. In that moment, I was like, I get why people think that she's a very pretty person. Before that, I'm
God,
just like very generic, and then like she made a smile. I'm like, that would melt my heart.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I put it in my notes and I erased it because I was like, you know what? I don't want to seem like I'm reducing these people down to their looks. But I'm glad you said it because I think it was intentional. When you
Mm,
kind of think about it and go back, she's always being compared to Lila. You know what I mean? So Lila has always been kind of shown in a better light. She's always been shown more attractive.
for sure.
And like you've always known Tyra's like she's good looking, but she's kind of rough. But this episode, the way they shot her and the way they lit her, they really showed how pretty she really is. But they have to downplay it to play it against
Lila.
Lila
Yeah.
because she's the grittier chick. But this is kind of they're trying to soften you up and go, yo, look, no, she really is almost as pretty as Lila. She just doesn't have the opportunity. When you really look at her, look how beautiful she is. I noticed that shit, and I'm glad you said it because I was like, maybe I'm tripping, but yeah, man, they were really
No.
highlight that she's a really good looking lady, really good
100%.
looking.
100%. Yeah, and I mean she has moments where she really likes to shine as an actress as well. I just think This is one of those weird episodes where like it's like everything happens and nothing happens at the same time.
God
And there's some
damn it.
characters that are
Yes.
in and out, like Landry's not in this episode. And
Yeah.
then, we missed Tyra last episode. She's in and she's got like a pretty deep storyline in this one. It's kind of all over the place. But it is building up towards other things, right? Like we get to see more Buddy Gary at his, place of work. We see him manipulating customers by having Matt's dad put the American flag on. So he's like, hey, we can use the soldier angle to help you get some sales.
Right.
Things like that. But and then we'll talk about next episode, but then I was like, oh, I remember why we're learning more about Buddy Gary's dealership and his business.
Yeah.
Things are about to get crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to make sure I didn't, because it kind of runs together. So I had to like pull back.
One more thing going back to Smash before we close out on that storyline. This nigga said, don't nobody walk out on Smash. Again, if a 16-year-old boy talked to me like that, I don't care if he's a star football player. If he can't, like, if I heard him talking to my daughter like that, if I heard him talking like me like that, we gonna have a problem. Smash is gonna get smashed in the face.
Yeah.
like that's insane.
Yeah, he really is out of control. And I think because I like the show and I've seen it, like I kind of forget how much he is, because remember in the pilot, he is so over the top and you hate him, but just like they do, you just kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
You kind of just get used to him being he's just being him. But yeah, he's a fucking asshole. He really is. He's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. And it's just really frustrating, like kind of seeing it. And then like he's not even like good at improvising. I mean, I'm terrible at improvising too, but that double date with Matt and Julie goes so south when Julie tries to say like, oh yeah, Smash comes to international movies with us too. And like, and they're just lying for Smash. He's like, I don't know, man. I don't like to watch stuff. I like football and I like me. It's like, all right,
bro. The way I put this in my notes. This kid is oozing with testosterone. He has to get in this arm wrestling competition. Nigga, why?
Well, I think it's also good. Like that's what the writers do really well in this show is they show so many parallels of how people handle different situations. Like, for instance, basically Tyra's mom wants to smash Williams to take care of her, but like she doesn't mind that he'll just talk about himself or be selfish. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like it's so interesting like how like you'll see this is Tyra's mom wants a guy like Smash. Like she wants a man that's like that. You know what I mean? Whereas you see Julie wants someone that's like kind and caring, like a Matt Saracen. You know what I mean? It's just really interesting how the parallels work. Again,
yeah.
Shout out to the casting department though, because the actress that they got to play Julie Taylor, like she does things. I don't know if it's like a natural thing or if like she just spent so much time with Connie Britton. She does a lot of things she does a lot of facial expressions that Tammy does.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's like with her lips and like how she like looks at, yeah, man, it's like perfect casting.
Yeah. I felt the same way about Tyra's mom. She really looks like some lady in that town.
She does. Also, I have this note for next episode, but I'll go ahead and say it now. I don't know what it is about Tyra's older sister, like who eventually gets with Billy Riggins, but I was like, man, that's some trashy country girl that I would definitely have some fun with.
Nigga, the mom is me all day.
the mom gives very like honky tonk like bartender vibes.
Yeah, she does. She's definitely a dude with a cigarette in her mouth. You know what I'm saying? So disgusting.
I got a question about the lawsuit.
What's that?
Does the football team have their own lawyers? They do, right? I imagine they had I imagine Coach Taylor's not gonna have to come out of pocket to defend himself, right?
No, that's the thing, bro. They're suing him.
Like personally.
Yes.
Civil.
That's the problem. Yeah. They're suing Coach Taylor.
Yeah, it's gonna be tougher.
Yeah. That's why, yeah.
That sucks because he making money. And to your point, like we talked about this in earlier episodes. People probably know how much the coach is making, so like, oh yeah, like we need to get some of that. Like,
yeah, man, yeah. That's it's a tough situation, man. It's just everybody is just going through so much shit, man. So much shit.
Yeah, I mean,
I really feel like you and I had almost the exact same notes for this episode because
Oh,
my first note was like nothing happened, but at the same time, a lot of stuff does.
yeah, it's just all like I think the editing was a little not less coherent. It just wasn't as smooth as previous episodes because it was kind of jarring how quickly we would jump to different storylines. You know, like we'd be seeing a scene where Street's family serves Taylor with papers, right? And then you have that
Right.
guy like having the gall to ask about what he thinks is going to be the outcome of the game and whether or not they're going to be in the playoffs. Then we cut to Smash, be like, "Hey man, don't nobody disrespect the Smash. You want to smash the Smash?" And it's just like, "What?" Like, and then we
Yeah.
cut to Buddy Garrity talking to Matt's dad and being like, I mean, do your best, I guess. But this episode, I mean, I say this, I feel like I say this every episode that we do of this podcast, but I always connect with Matt Searson because there's a moment where Julie is talking to him about like, his life, his home life and stuff like that. And
Right.
she's like, Matt, you can just get angry. And he's like, no, I can't. And that's how I feel all the time, despite like having a pretty serious demeanor most of the time. Like, I always felt like I couldn't be angry. And my family was always like, don't be the angry black man. Like they really, it's really
Yeah.
hard for me to express anger. It's very, very hard for me, even
Yeah.
when I'm angry.
Yeah. See, but you're the type like you would just stab somebody and keep that same look in your face and just go back to like playing your games. Like not
I
that you
do have,
would, but you know what I'm saying. But you just seem like, hey, don't push him because you're not gonna know when it's gonna happen because he's just gonna do it.
it's
You
funny
know what
you
I
say
mean?
that because literally was Wednesday night. So was Monday night. We were coming home late, my wife and I on the subway, and there's this drunk dude playing music and he was just acting loud and crazy. Then the cops came on trying to tell him to turn up his music. It was a whole confrontation, right? He's just going crazy. And my wife, she had already had like a similar encounter earlier. So she's just, being a New Yorker, like, shut the fuck up. Like, just stop
Mhm.
complaining. Just shut the fuck up. You're not going to like beef with these cops because they're going to beat you up. Right. And he's like, fuck you, bitch, blah, blah, blah. I was like, say what? And then the guy was looking at me, and then I was like, all right, because he kind of was watching us. And so I think he was eyeing to see what stop we got off. So what I did was, Chris, I took out my house keys, put them in my left hand to get ready. And then I took out a pen in my right hand. So I was just like, if need be, I'm going to go
Yeah.
John Wick with this nigga, just stabbing him with
Yeah.
household
See,
appliances. Like,
you just got murdered by one of the nicest guys in New York.
but you have
Yeah,
like, you
man.
have to be like that sometimes. And like, I do talk about this in therapy. I'm like, I do worry about the one day where I just snap.
Yeah.
It is a problem. Like I think I want to do boxing or some shit just to get out some
Yeah.
like anger and aggression. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Lifting weights definitely helps, man. Because
Oh
you can,
yeah,
it definitely, lifting weights helps, man.
I don't have no one to spot me though.
The aggression or push ups. You know what really helps, and I hate it because I
Mm.
hate doing it is running.
I used to run.
Uh
I used to run a lot, and I hated it. Like I like hate run, but
yeah.
I lost mad weight.
Yeah, I hate it, but it's just like because I'll go out there mad about something, and once you get a good pace going, you focus on your breath. You're trying to keep your breath, and then
Mm,
next thing you're not even thinking about what you were mad about because you're trying to keep your breath going. So that
mm.
I know that works for me, man. But
Do
man,
you run in the morning or you run at night?
mm, here in the mornings,
Okay.
I would love to live in a city where I could do something like that at night, but I live out in 1963, man. It's crazy out here, man. It's crazy out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting
It's so
crazier.
it's country. Dude, one of the bus stops, the kid gets off at a hardware store.
Okay.
Next, that's some country ass shit.
I mean, we
Like
have
his
a bus over here that gets off at Home Depot.
no, this is a school bus. Like
Oh,
the school bus goes down in the plaza
okay.
and stops at a local hardware store and drops up because that's his family owns it.
Oh, okay.
And then yeah, that's some country shit.
I mean, that's country, but that's also like nice. That's also like
That's
to
what
be
I
dropped off
mean.
at your parents'
Yeah,
business.
at your parents' place of business. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just it's
that's
I've never.
convenient.
It's very convenient, but it's also like no sidewalk. So like if you get stuck behind buses here in the country roads, it's literally bus stops like every 9 feet, and before you know it, you're behind like 9 miles of traffic because they're picking
Okay,
up four kids on this. Yeah, it's crazy. Sorry,
that's
I
crazy.
hate it.
Uh, one thing I did notice about this episode,
What's
well,
that?
in this episode, not about the episode particularly, Julie Taylor is basically dating her dad. You kind
She
of
is.
did you peep that?
She is.
Like I just realized I was like when she's having these scenes with Matt after like he accidentally stood her up at the library and she comes home and sees the chaos in his house and she's talking to him. I was like, oh yeah, she married her dad, where it's like this really nice dude who just
Yeah.
wants to take care of the people that he loves.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And so I noticed that, and like when I want to say, is it at the fair? Yeah, at the fair, Riggins comes up to Tyra and is apologizing, and he
Yeah.
wants her to, at that moment, that's where I think she realizes like, yo, this is how I start to become my mom. This could be my first Bob.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
she even says like, at one point I would have loved to hear that.
Yeah.
But at that point, she's realizing like, I got to get out of here. I can end up in this same cycle as my mom. I can't do it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in later seasons, Tyra's one of those characters where you're like, this is going to take a dark turn. This is not going to end well. And then you're like, okay, she ended up being okay. And that's not a spoiler alert, I don't think. It's just, you do worry about Tyra, because there's some dark, timelines that her character could go, depending on the decisions she makes.
Yeah, it's so funny because like if you just kind of step back and look at where they kind of ended up, you look at Smash, you kind of know just based on like real life situations, like, all right, we kind of know what's gonna happen with that dude. Riggins, oh yeah, Matt and Julie, they'll be okay. And then like Tyra's that one chick where like, oh, she got out. She said she was determined. Like I feel like this episode for Tyra, we saw like she realized like, yo, I want something more in life. I think this was her moment, and she realized like I want more. I can't do this.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like this episode didn't have anything to do about the game. It was just all about like, things you can't control. Because that's something that personally I'm just trying to get better at. Like, obviously like, hey, this isn't really important to me, but I also can't control like what happens to like the film industry or what happens to how people feel about this thing I submitted. You know what I mean? It's like it's out of I did the best I could, and you can't just stress out about what other people are doing. I think that that's something that was really interesting about, as the team deals with like the weight of seeing how the game that they're, that determines whether or not they get into the playoffs pans out.
Right. Yeah. This kind of, yeah, you can't really do anything about that. But we see people, it's like, yeah, we're people are worried about things we can't control. And then you have guys like Matt Saracen, who he's also worried about that kind of what's going to go on, but he also has a lot of stuff that is happening to him that is out of his control, but he has to take care of it, and he shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah, he shouldn't have to do this.
They just going through so much shit. Yo, I forgot. This is a great scene too. When Julie comes home and she's like, "Yo, I love y'all." Like for her to realize like how stable her shit is, even though they don't show the stuff that's going on with Tyra, but like think about Tyra's life. Because we get to see that as audience members, we get to see the chaos that she's going through, and then like, what do you even think about this? These kids are doing all the stuff that we see, but they still have to go to school.
Yeah, man.
They're going to work.
Yeah, stability at home is incredibly important, and I think you don't folks don't appreciate how important that is. I think that's like I think as society, we just got to a place where we refuse to have the hard conversations. Like I genuinely like, I have a very complicated relationship with my father, like the idea of my father, because I never met him, right? And he passed like my sophomore year in college, so he's been dead for a while, and it's like, it's tough because I hear people talk about how great he was, and that if he knew he had a son, he would have been there, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, but by consistent accounts of my mom, he did know I was around, and he was in my hometown, so even if he would know of me. Like I did enough. I think purposely I did enough things to gain attention where it would be hard to like not know about me in my hometown when I was growing up. Like, especially when I was in high school, right? And it's like, what's wrong with? I feel like we need to do more to, and you can't force someone to be a father or a mother, right? But I
Right.
think we do need to hold people more accountable, because it's like if you just abandon a young person, or you refuse to mature and grow, where you can provide young people stability and all these things, then you raise them to be these broken, emotionally fucked up people, and then they turn 18 and you just put them out into society to deal with. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's not, in at least in New York, I see some of that getting worse and worse. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why, like, when my wife brings, we have our god kids and stuff like that who lived with us for a few months, a few years ago. Like, we really do our best to show them that, there's such a thing as a stable household, that couples don't need to yell at each other, and they can be loving and caring towards one another, and that you can be a dependable, reliable person and come through on what you say, stuff like that. And I don't know, man. It just feels kind of sometimes we're getting so far away from that. And it's like there's nothing positive that comes from that.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
man. Yeah, I agree, man. I totally agree. Yeah, my wife sees it. She saw it working with a lot of youth.
Mm,
Um, yeah, just working for the county and stuff like that. Just people not able to deal with anything. They're not able to build relationships. They don't have any relationships with their parents, or they just have odd relationships with their parents. Like their parents never hold them
yeah.
accountable for the things they do. Like my wife, she will work with trouble youth, and she said the amount of, man, I don't even want the amount of black women that would like come in and like, can I do my son community service for him? It's like, yo, what are you doing?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you teaching? He stole the thing. Why are you asking if you can do his hours?
I mean, I have a guess that I would say 60% of the reasons why the mothers were doing that is because they knew their sons wouldn't do it. Therefore, their
Yeah,
sons end up in jail.
yeah.
That's why I think that was about.
But the fact that like
They have
they're
to do
not,
that in general. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And she should be like, yo, no, no, you can't. No.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you wonder why these dudes get in trouble and they don't want to grow up. And it's because they're never held accountable. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's everybody, but it's just, this, I hate
A
to see
decent
that.
amount.
It's a
It's a
decent amount,
decent
man.
amount.
It's a decent amount. But man, yeah, these cats are putting up with this stuff at 16, man. It's wild. I was thinking about this because we make a lot of assumptions that like these kids have a good because they go to the good school.
Yes.
They go to the good school. And I was like, somebody has to have it well. Who do you think out of the cast has it well?
I mean, like the
Has
best
it the
life.
best? Yeah. I was like, this is wild.
I would say, based on what we're seeing, based on what everything's presented to
Yeah.
us, despite the whole controversy with the Street Riggins affair and stuff like that, is Lila Garrity.
Lila Garrity, you still think she's
Yeah, because remember, her issues are like, especially like it was like reputation wise, right? And it was like her being like torn between these two men that are completely different, that she wants for different reasons. You know what I mean? That's like,
oh yeah, you're
that's
right.
like that's hot adult woman shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it
she's in high
is.
school. She's in high school, and the biggest issue I mean, it is social fallout, but like,
Yo,
she's
that's so true.
rebounded. She's already
That's
rebounded. She's still the
right.
hot prom queen or whatever the fuck. And she's still, Buddy
Yeah.
Garrity's still doing well financially at this point. So
Yeah.
she's doing okay, man. She's,
You're right.
you know what I
You're
mean?
right. She has her choice of like, okay, I banged the two hottest guys in school. The promising young quarterback, and then
This
the
bad boy best
brooding.
friend. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And what Street like is
You're
starting,
right.
everyone knows that Street's kind of welcoming her back in his life. So it's like at that point, people have moved
Oh,
on. So
oh yeah.
the
She's
biggest stress
back.
she has is like making Street happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. God
Out of
damn.
the whole cast, I think absolutely. I think it's
Yeah.
Lila, because even you could say Julie, because the biggest challenge she has is like just making sure she's being a good girlfriend to Matt and like supporting him when she can. But that's like she that's like a non-factor to me, kind of in regards
Yeah.
to stress. But that doesn't mean that she's comfortable, because she sees the instability with her dad's career. I think she knows the high stakes. So I think there's probably some simmering anxiety there and stuff like that, especially now that she's like, building roots in the town and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true too. Because people look at Coach like he's got it made.
Mm.
Even people who, they think he's got it. He's the coach. He's making all this money. Because there's not a goddamn day in that town where some guy leaning on a truck isn't talking about how much Coach Taylor is making.
Yep.
That's some bitch make 6 figures. He talking shit. He is. Every day somebody's bringing up how much money Coach Taylor making.
Yeah, it's so wild, man, what people give a fuck about. It's so weird, like what people will spend the time of their day in this one life that we for sure know we have to just talk about some random coach and stuff. I did laugh. We St. John's just recently won the East Conference and stuff like that. So Saturday we were like in the city watching the game at a bar and stuff like that. And I was like, yo, there's definitely one person that's like bet their whole life on this game. Not necessarily. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? If the Johnnies don't win, like I gotta move to Mexico.
Yeah, it is funny to think there's some guy stressed out. And you over there eating wings, having a great time, and some guy is like, I put my mortgage on this game because I had a feeling.
I used to want to do I had this idea, but it's way too dark. Tell me what you think of this, right? So
do it.
It was about a dude. It was like Uncut Gems, like meets the fan, but it was about a high school football team. And it kind of started when we were watching this show, like we started watching the show again, which is about this dude who basically he bets on like high school games, but he lives in Texas. So it's like he's going all these local bookies. He owes money to all these people in town and shit like that. And so he's trying to manipulate. So he thinks about injuring the star quarterback from the rival team. So he like does some Talia Hardy shit. But then
funny.
I stopped brainstorming it because I'm like, this is too dark. Because there's a line between funny and being so dark that like people are like, I can't fuck with that.
No, there's a tone. There's a way to do that, man. That's funny. That's hilarious, man.
Well, I just always worry about I don't like want to misrepresent anyone like with mental illness or anything like that. And sometimes if you go too dark, it's like, all right, well, this person's mentally fucked up. So
I think if you make him such a schlub to where like this guy, you know what I mean? Like he's not slow. It's just like he's just such a dirtbag. He's such a dirtbag that he's thinking about hurting a kid. We're like, see, but if you picture like a good-looking guy, like that's dark. But if it's like some guy that's just like, God damn it,
okay, he's immediately a piece of shit. Got it.
I gotta do it.
You can't have Zac Efron playing this role.
He's got to be Buddy Garrity, but like 10 times more. Like he's got to be on like down on his luck. Like what kind of job could this guy have?
Maybe a janitor at the school,
no,
assistant coach in a football team. Ooh, that's even better because that's like mad illegal. Assistant coach is like, that's what he just puts on the mask and beats the starting quarterback. Like, Mr. Johnson, I'm not Mr. Johnson.
I'm not Mr. Johnson. That's funny, man. Write that shit, man.
Honey, did you pay the mortgage? He's like, no, I bet on
dude, he's
inviting Friday.
Dude, he invites the kid over to eat. He like gives them food poisoning. Like there's so many things he could.
Where he's just like, hey, you know about anyone in the other school who got injuries, anything like that. That's one of my favorite Simpsons bits was when Bart and Lisa were doing the rival hockey team. And then the whole town's betting on the game, and Bo from the bar comes over and is like, "Hey, just want to check in on you guys and the kids. Any injuries we need to know?"
Yeah, I remember that. He's such a dirtbag.
He really is.
He got money right on the kids.
I have to. Right. Speaking of dirtbag shit, I do have to call this out. As much as I love me some Tammy Taylor and Connie Britton, that frozen casserole she sent over with Julie, that was not the move.
She looked good though, man.
Man.
When she was getting dressed for the thing, I was like, God damn it.
Yeah,
now I see why they had that second ugly ass baby.
I mean, I get it too.
I get it. He shot that club up.
There's a Ryan Murphy thing, I think, that had like Angela Bassett and Connie Britton in the same. I could be making this up. This could have been a fantasy I made up, but I'm pretty sure they were. I'm pretty sure they were both in a Ryan Murphy thing together, and I remember being like, mm-hmm,
Mm.
mm-hmm.
Man, who did I just see together? And I was like, that is a excellent MILF combo.
Selma Hayek.
Oh, you know who it was? It was Angela Bassett, and then I always mess up her name, but the lady from Ted Lasso, the English
Oh,
woman.
Hannah, yeah. Oh, Jesus
Gee,
Lord, yeah.
sorry, fuck you, Dr. Umar. Oh my God, that is an odd
You know who that
looking
actress is,
fine
right?
ass woman.
Yeah, you know who that actress is from, right? She's from
Hmm.
Game of Thrones. She was the fucking priestess that like was fucking with Cersei.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She
That's
was that.
right,
So
man.
yeah, it's wild, man. It's
She
wild with like with cloth like robes and shit can cover up.
Yeah,
I had
damn,
no
that
idea.
is her. And man, she is,
They need to put her in East Dillon, Texas. Make sure she eating right.
man, she is. She. Am I tripping? She is odd looking though, right? But she's
Oh
very
yeah,
attractive.
yes, yes.
Okay, you're a movie person. Tell me she would not be great if she played a female Grinch.
I mean,
She looks
facial
like a
wise, I can
Grinch to
see it,
me.
but her body don't fit for the Grinch.
Nah, because
Yeah,
they should make a female sexy Grinch. I would go see that
that's a
shit.
very specific.
How the thick Grinch stole Christmas.
I'm sure you can get AI to make something up.
Yeah. All right.
Jesus
Sorry
Christ.
about that. I just slid down that
All right,
weird
so
path. I love her.
no worries, man. But now it's time for us to rate episode 12 of season 1. What to do while you're waiting. First, let's talk about our on the bench recommendation, folks. If this is your first time listening, our on the bench recommendation is a character or actor that we thought just did an excellent job, showing their storyline or just showed off a dope skill or something like that. So, Chris, do you have on the bench rec for this episode?
I'm benching Bob for being a piece of shit, pedophile, woman beater.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is on the benches for the bad stuff. My bad,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
the
thought
people
you
that did
just get
egregious shit, either
yeah.
actors or characters.
Bob. Bob the boyfriend.
Bob, the boyfriend, is a piece of shit. He is a piece
Yeah.
of shit. However, because I don't think we're gonna see Bob anytime
We're not.
soon. Well, I think he maybe pops in the next episode. But anyways, he's not that big of a character. I'm putting Smash Williams on the bench because I just think even if you have a big ego, that's such an insane way to go about life at age 16 after all the people have already checked you this season about how egregious your behavior is and how you need to fucking mature. He's still doing fuck shit. So Smash Williams is on the bench for me.
Okay. That's now. Do you we agree? Smash is a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think what he's doing is amplifying his dickheadedness?
Oh, with the steroids?
Yeah.
Possibly. This episode didn't show him shooting up though, so you kind of forget about it.
No, but he's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing it. You're right. I mean, possibly, but he was always like this. That's the problem. From episode 1, he was like this.
The stories are like, what do you need me for? Yeah, his ego is out of control. You're right. Definitely, that's a great bench. But I had to bench
that makes sense. All right, so now our recommendation for MVP character, most valuable player. This could be for a character, primary or supporting, that we thought just did their thing this episode or really stood out. So, anyone for you, Chris?
Adrian Pilecki.
Okay. Well, is that for character or for performance?
Her performance.
Okay. So that's a game ball. You're going to give a game ball.
I always feel like I get it backwards. So, all right, my bad.
All good.
But even for both then, because
okay.
I feel like, man, wait, sometimes am I getting, let me make sure I got the right thing. No, man. Yeah, this is the right episode. I just really like how she just stepped up and she really talked to her mom like an adult. She did the right thing. And she told her mom like, yo, it's either me or him.
Mm-hmm.
So and we've never really saw that from her. I just felt like she showed a lot this episode and really stepped up.
You fucked up as a parent when your kid gives you ultimatums that may result in them not living with you anymore.
Yeah,
they're like, I'd rather go out into the scary ass real world without security or without like a guardianship than to deal with whatever fuck shit you got going on here.
Yeah, she's gonna go out there with her superior genetic ass.
That's insane. Yeah, that was such a weird thing to say. So odd. But yeah, For character, for MVP character, I am going to go with I'm like torn between Street. Actually, I'm torn between Jason Street and Tyra. I think I'm gonna agree with you and go with Tyra for MVP character. I think I thought she was, she showed a lot of strength in this episode. She showed a different side of the character, of her character, and how she really wants women to be empowered. She wants her mom to do better, but also can recognize that there's a lot of shortcomings when it comes to her mom, and that she may not be able to help her with all of them, but she can do her damnedest to try, or at least force her to try.
Yeah.
And then Game Ball for performance for me. I don't know, man. I actually might go with the actress that played Jason Street's mom. It's a very small performance, but the way that she's like, we need money, it's powerful enough where Jason Street's kind of like, damn, I kind of get it. You know what I mean? Because at the end, he has that stare off with Coach Taylor at the fair and then just rolls away because it's like, he's torn, but he's like, I also get why my parents are doing what they're doing now.
Yeah. He sees what it's doing to his family, man.
No.
He sees. And because I didn't want to, now, is this the episode? What now? I think it's next episode. I don't want to, we'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But, things at the house at the street house are not well at all. No. At all.
And understandably so. You know what I mean? It's a rough time right now. Everything. But let's talk about our final scores. And folks, if this is your first time listening, we do a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being a drunk Riggins puking on the field and 10 being a Coach Taylor Hall of Fame speech. So we watched episode 12 of season 1, What to Do while you're waiting. Chris, what's your final score for this episode?
I'll give it a 7.5.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it 7. I was thinking even lower, but it's not that bad.
It's not.
But it feels slow and a bit all over the place. It's just, it was hard to like keep up with all the storylines. I ended up writing a lot of notes, but even like my notes were like very vague. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of one, like, that was weird, or oh, Tyra, no, like things like that.
Yeah, I typically go kind of scene by scene, but this one, my notes are different, and for the next one too. But I think I'm gonna go back to my old format for scene. That's easier for me to do because I was trying to kind of wrap up everybody's character and what they did, and then,
you could definitely tell this episode was filmed in the late 2000s, 2007, just because of the close-ups on like Tyra's body, and you're like, oh yeah, it's back when they were like really into like thin hips and these low-rise jeans that didn't really cover up anything.
Yeah, you cool with these jeans your daughter's wearing?
I remember Beyonce tried to wear those, and TRL and her ass crack was showing. Yeah, because it just the curvy body's not made for these jeans.
Not made for it. It's so funny how the clothing just brings back so many memories. Just seeing those jeans all the time at the club.
Which no offense to Tyra, but how'd she afford to always look so fashionable?
Women's clothes are cheap, man.
They are?
Hell yeah. Huh. So how they dress, like, especially at that time, like, man, because my wife and the women I was always shopping with them. I mean, you can go to Charlotte Russe, and I could give her $100, and she would come back with like 7 outfits. It's like the jeans are like $15, $20, okay. And then then women can find tops like in the clearance for like $2, $3, $4. So yeah, nice. Women's clothes are a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper.
I just started buying hoodies and sweatpants. that's my wardrobe now. I'm also a writer full time now, so I could just be like, I'm a creative, and people are like, oh, okay.
That's what's up, man. To say you're a writer is dope, man.
You just walk around with sweatpants and stains on them.
Man, there was one more point I wanted to make. Oh, is this too corny? This might be too on the nose and too direct of a comparison. But I felt like this episode was slow. But we always talked about the pacing of this show. And when you think about it, it's kind of like a football game where like some of these are going to be like some big gains. And then some is just like, hey, it's going to move the story forward a couple of yards. Like I feel like this was a good pickup. Like this was like a good 6-yard, 7-yard play. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not bad. But I think of the next couple of episodes, we're going to either get a first down or they're going to score. I feel like that's how the show is paced.
I agree with that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just as a fine episode. You know, the series is so great. It's just
It
weird when there's
is.
like an episode that's just like not a 10, you know what I mean? Or at least a 9. But folks, that's our review of season 1, episode 12. We're halfway through the season. You know,
Yes,
which means
sir.
we're halfway through the first season of this podcast. Please
Yes.
leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast application. We'll read it on the show. And Chris, tell the people how they can follow you, bro. Keep up what you're doing.
You can find me on everything at Chris Allen Comedy, ALAN. Watch my podcast, The New OGs with my boy Dow. Watch the special. I'm re-releasing it in a couple of days on my YouTube page. Got to be honest. Make sure you go watch it and put it on TikTok. I got to do all that stuff. So yeah, at Chris Allen Comedy for anything dealing with me.
Awesome. Folks, you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads, FrodoBlackens.com for show dates. I got a fun variety show in the city on 420. Yes, that's Easter Sunday, but we're going to be drinking and having some fun, laughing and shit. So FrodoBlackens.com for those tickets, as well as Drunk Black History is going to be hitting the road again starting in April, setting up a special show in New York. Then we're going to be in Boston, Detroit, Brooklyn again, all that fun stuff. DrunkBlackHistory.com, ReferralBlackens.com for those show dates. And again, do not forget to leave a 5-star review for Friday Night Lights Rewind, so we know that you're listening, that you enjoy what we're doing, and that you want us to keep going. So again, 5-star review on your favorite podcast application. We'll read on the show. And yeah, that's it.
We out.
Clear eyes, full hearts.
Can't lose.